Welcome to our video lesson on naming and plotting points on the coordinate plane. You know what the coordinate plane is, and now we're going to talk about how we use it. Points that are on the coordinate plane can be written as an ordered pair, And an ordered pair would be written in the form parentheses x comma y. What that means is where the point is along the x-axis and where the point is along the y-axis. And these two, as an ordered pair, it's how we can find points and work around the coordinate plane. Let's do an example. The first point we need to name is the point R, which is written here. We're going to find the ordered pair for point R, and point R is over here. Let me erase that though so we can work with it. Alright, point R. First, I find where it is along the x-axis, and my x-axis is this one across here. Remember, x doesn't have the little stick in it like y does, so x is across, is horizontal, or across the bottom. Alright, so we are going to move, or we're going to find where point R is along the x-axis, and point R is at 4 along the x-axis. So our x-coordinate for point R is 4. Our y-coordinate is wherever it is along the y-axis, which in this case is 3. So our y-coordinate is 3. And our ordered pair for point R is 4, 3. Now let's do point S. Point S is down here. Alright, along the x-axis, remember this is our x-axis here. So S, if I move up, you can see S is at -2 on the x-axis. And then I do the y-axis, which is this axis here, the one that goes up and down. And we can see that S is at -2 on our y-axis. So the ordered pair for S is -2, -2. Let's do T now. T is right here. T is also at -2 along our x-axis, -2. And then we look for where it is on the y-axis. T is at 2 on the y-axis. So our ordered pair for point T would be -2, 2. Pause the video now and see if you can find the coordinates for P and Q on your own. Alright, welcome back. Let's check the coordinates for P. So remember, x-axis first, so we're going along the horizontal axis, this one here. And our point P is at 4 along the x-axis. So my first point in my ordered pair would be 4. And it's at -3 along the y-axis, so it's 4 and -3. The last point, Q, over here, is at 3 along our x-axis and -4 along our y-axis. Alright, let's move on to the next one. There's some more examples here, and some of them are actually quite a bit harder. We are only going to do some of them together, and the rest you need to do on your own. Let's start with E. E is our point down here. E is in a funny spot. Alright, E along the x-axis, which is our horizontal one, isn't at a number. It's right here in the middle, which means that E is at -0 and 5/10, or -1/2, because it's in between 0 and -1. Now we look at our y-axis. Where is E along our y-axis? E is at -1 on our y-axis because it's on that line there. So E would be -1/2 and -1. Okay, let's look at F. Where's F on here? F is over here. F looks like a fairly nice point to do. F is along 2 lines, which makes it a lot easier. F for the x-axis is -1, and for the y-axis, -3. D. D is a tricky one. It's over here. D's up here. It's not on a line, which means it's going to be a decimal. It's not going to be a perfect number. Let's draw a line down from D to see where it intersects. It crosses the x-axis halfway between 0 and 1, which means that D is at 0 and 5/10, or 1/2. And the y value is nicely on the line, and it's at 4. Here's my challenge for you. Try doing G, which is here, on your own. I'm not going to tell you the answer for G. Now let's look at H. H is down here, and H looks different than from any other one we've done before. When we're going to see how far we need to move X, because X goes first, for H, X is on the 0. So that means that our first coordinate for H is 0. Now we need to see where it is with the y-axis. It's at -5. So H is 0, -5. Now I challenge you to do I and J on your own as well. All right, plotting points. Now you know how to name them. We need to talk about how to plot them, which is the opposite way. The steps. When you're plotting, you're always going to start at the origin, which you know from our foldable is right here in the very middle at 0, 0. So we're going to start there every time. Then we're going to move left or right first. Left or right is like moving side to side. So I'm going to add here that it's or side to side. You should write that down on your guided note as well. Then we are going to move up or down. So first is left to right, then we go up or down. All right, let's do the first few together. We are going to plot point M for math. We're going to start here in the origin. Our points, our coordinates, or our ordered pair is 3, -2. So I need to go left or right first. 3 is a positive number, which means we're going to move along the positives. And we're going to move 3 spots, 1, 2, 3, until we get to where 3 is on our coordinate plane. Then our second order pair is -2, so I'm going to go down because it's -2. And so this here becomes our point M. I'm going to erase everything else on there so that it looks nice and neat. Now we're going to do A. We need to, again, start at the origin, start right here in the middle, and we're going to move to where -2 is along our x-axis, so that's here, -2. And then -4, so again, we're going to go down 4 until we get to -4 here. And then we're at -4. I'm trying to make this round if I can. -4 down there, and that's our point, A. Next, we're going to do point T. Again, we start in the origin. T is 0. So you know what? We don't have to move to the left or to the right. We stay right in the middle, and we go 0, 5. So we're going to move up 5 spaces. So that means our point T is right here at 0, 5. And I'm going to label that T. And the last one, H. Again, I go back to my origin. I start here in the middle. It says -6, so I'm going to go to where -6 is here. And then our second coordinate is 0, which means we're moving neither up nor down. So that means -6, 0. That would be our point H right here. Now we have some examples, and you're going to do most of these on your own. KCP, you guys should be able to do on your own. And SI you should do on your own, and X you can do on the own, but we're going to do T and H together. So right now, pause the video, try and plot K through X on your own. Alright, take a little bit of time to look at the correct answers for your points here and make sure you got them correct. If you have any questions, feel free to double check your work and then ask me. I'm here to help you. Now we're going to look at T and H. Before we talk about them, look at the ordered pairs. What's different about them compared to what we've done before? Hopefully you can see what's different is that they have decimals in them. So now we're working with decimals on our coordinate plane. Alright, we always start, X goes first. So that means we have 1 1/2 or 1 5/10. We're going to start at our origin here by 0, and we need to move to the right 1.5. Well, my 1 is here, and my 2 is here, and halfway between them will be right here. So that means that my x-coordinate will be in the middle of this blocks here, so somewhere along that line. Then I'm going to move -2 or down 2 spaces, so 1, 2. So that means that my coordinate, or my point, is going to go right here on that line, and that would be T. Now we're going to do another example like this with H. H is 6, -2 and 5/10. Alright, we're going to move to the right 6 until we get to here. That one's okay. And then -2 and 5/10. So that means 2.5 is another way to say that. I'm going to erase this C because it's going to be in our way, and I'll put it over here. Alright, I'm moving down 1, 2, and then I have this half. So that means that my decimal, or my point, not decimal, sorry, is going to go in between -2 and -3. So that means it's going to go right here in the middle. And that is H. Alright, that's all for now. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm here to help you. I'll talk to you later.